A local pharmacist is hauled off to jail today, accused of selling narcotics to people holding fake prescriptions. We're talking serious painkillers here.
The Metropolitan Bureau of Investigation says it's been investigating the Cure Aid pharmacy at Goldenrod and Lake Underhill for about a year. They accuse one of the co-owners, the pharmacist here, of doling out prescription painkillers to bogus prescription holders. Not a word from Ramesh Pathak as he was taken to jail. The accusations against him include 22 counts of trafficking in oxycodone and 22 more counts of conspiracy to do the same. They say Pathak was filling prescriptions he knew were bogus, cashing in on their street value when they were resold.
He was getting anywhere from $700 to $1,000 per order, per prescription. So there was a substantial amount of money that was being made in this operation.
The owner of a neighboring business says the guy she knew could not do what's alleged.
I can't believe that he was doing that. Because I've known him, I've always been in and out there, so I really can't believe it.
A criminal gonna be a criminal, no matter the walk of life that individual comes from. If the life of a cocaine dealer chooses a preacher's kid, then that preacher's kid gonna bag up that dope, and the family gonna be disappointed as hell.
They say they found large amounts of marijuana, enough for trafficking charges against the pastor, Josh Price, and his son, Matthew.
If the child of a cop was meant to be a crackhead that breaks into people's cars and steals their radio, then there's nothing that cop can do about it. You're going to be arresting your son in the future. Accept it for what it is.
Yo, did you break into this car before, bro?
Drop the stuff!
I don't know how he turned out like this. I raised him better than that. I don't know where I went wrong. Well, listen here, you disappointed mother. Your child was meant to go wrong. Your child was meant to be a heathen since the day he was born.
It's a black sneaker.
If you was a cop and you had access to the evidence locker and you knew that evidence locker was filled with bricks of Hannah Montana, what you doing with that information and accessibility? I know what I do.
What?
If you was in the medical field and you had access to the medicine cabinet and you knew that medicine cabinet was filled with Percocets and codeine, what you doing with that information and accessibility? I know what I do.
Oh my God.
I'm exploiting the situation. I'm gonna exploit the situation. I'm stealing everything and I'm selling it on the goddamn streets. That's why I'm not a cop. That's why I'm not a doctor. Me being a truck stop janitor keeps me honest. That's exactly why I chose that career field.
What?
We gonna dedicate this video to the cops and doctors that should have been truck stop janitors like myself, because they exploited their situation and they got caught up in crimes that potentially ruined their lives. And now they have no choice but to be a truck stop janitor, because after those charges, they'll never be able to get a job in their respective career fields ever again. It's over with. Grab this mop bucket and clean that shower stall out. It's disgusting. But yeah, dawg, let's get it. They stealing drugs, selling drugs, and using the goddamn drugs.
A pharmacist now charged with 3 counts of illegally selling codeine. That's a narcotic syrup.
What were you selling?
I can't tell you, sir. I'm very sorry that I'm unable to provide this service for you.
Also provided undercover video of what they say was Scarcliffe making a sale.
You know you don't run your mouth, all right? He is telling this guy not to be dealing the codeine in front of his store, to move away from the store before he deals it, and you'll also hear him comment to keep his mouth shut.
That's sad, because he was a service to the community.
Customers who came by the pharmacy today were surprised to hear about the arrest.
He's sweet as he can be. I don't understand.
He did illegal then. Y'all gotta lock him up. I think he's a good pharmacist though.
Are you worried about losing your license?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that you're wrongly accused?
Okay, don't get with your wife. You don't need to talk to him at all, okay? Don't say anything to anybody.
Okay.
The police are showing the stuff before he's even been charged. That's interesting.
It's clearly him on the video, though.
Well, that's clearly, why are you looking at it? Why are they showing it to you and trying him in the press rather than wait until we get to court? That's what I'd like to know.
But now, police have padlocked Scarcliffe's pharmacy.
The whole community is filled with terrible liars. Y'all knew exactly what was going on, trying to act all shocked and appalled.
Customers who came by the
Y'all knew what was going on. As a matter of fact, that undercover video tells me everything that I need to know. The dude that was secretly recording the drug exchange, oh yeah, he got caught up with the law. When the police pulled him over, they found all types of purple drink in his baby mama Nissan Altima. And he was like, hold on now, I can tell y'all where I got this from. When the police seen that surveillance video, they couldn't believe their eyes. They was expecting to see me, but nah, they seen their brother-in-law that they hit up the golf course with every Sunday. I'll be damned. Imagine doing a drug exchange with Stan Pavlak from Space Jam and he tell you to keep your mouth shut. Like, come on, Stan, look at you. If the ish hit the fan, you are the perfect scapegoat. The trenches will not criticize me for snitching on you.
I think it's good pharmacist though.
You look like Stan Pavlak from Space Jam and you got a legit license in pharmaceuticals, calling yourself trying to get involved in street business. Well, guess what, Stan? Getting snitched on is a part of street business. You're going down. And look at your lawyer.
On the video, though.
Well, that's clearly why are you looking at it? Why are they showing it to you and trying him in the press?
He even know that you're guilty. It's over with.
This Pinellas County deputy is out of a job and facing charges after investigators say he stole prescription pills and even pawned his service gun.
Investigators say Steve Smith told them he is addicted to oxycodone because of a long-term back injury, and that's why his job performance started to suffer in recent years. So much so, he was demoted twice and even given a desk job. But it was on that desk job where instead of destroying an unused prescription of oxycodone, Sheriff Bob Galtieri says he took them home instead. The sheriff says Smith's downward spiral got so bad, he even sold his service clock at this pawn shop in Newport Richey. Eventually, his ex-girlfriend reported him. Smith told investigators he didn't take the pills while on the job. Instead, he doubled up on his dosage after work.
He wasn't popping pills on the job, my black ass. He was high as hell on that clock. He wasn't fighting crime, he was fighting addiction and losing. And how in the hell was he able to pawn his service firearm? Don't guns come with serial numbers that you can type in and see the occupation for that gun is for law enforcement? I don't know, I'm just guessing. And I hope the girlfriend that told on him got a permanent order of protection. Because look at that mugshot. This man is dangerous.
Police say a man attacked her, hitting her several times in the head and threatening to shoot her.
He gonna want him some get back, and he probably was already abusing her. Look at that mugshot. Everything about that mugshot screams domestic violence. I remember one time I ran a red light right in front of the cops. I just knew for a fact I was about to get pulled over. But absolutely nothing happened. It probably was this cop I did that in front of. Them oxycodons was on his ass, preventing him from getting on my ass. No homo.
New at 10 tonight. A Huntsville woman says she caught her on-site apartment manager on hidden camera entering her home with master keys and stealing her prescription pain medications, built for low-income families. Now, in this video, you can see it right here. You can see a woman who several Deer Run tenants identify as Shirley Miller enter the house. After looking through various prescription bottles, you can see her pocket a handful of those pills before leaving. The woman who shared the video with us didn't feel comfortable showing her face on camera. She's afraid apartment management will retaliate against her.
I've lost sleep, it's affected my health, and of course I've been short on my prescriptions.
She is still living at those Deer Run apartments, less than 100 feet from the location where that video appears to show her stealing those medications. Other tenants told me they believe Miller has stolen their cash and belongings while they've been out and about. It's unclear whether or not she still has those master keys to the apartments.
If I knew for a fact that somebody was taking advantage of their job position at my expense, if I knew for a fact that somebody was in my crib violating my personal space, and that person lives less than 100 feet away from me, and the police ain't doing nothing about it, I'm taking matters into my own hands. That lady ain't want her face on camera. My face is going to be on that camera, and I'm dissing every goddamn body. The whole leasing office. Tupac hit him up type ish.
Oh my God.
I'm calling out government names and everything. And apparently, this lady, she been stealing from every goddamn body in the neighborhood. I don't condone violence, but all the neighbors need to get together and beat that old lady ass. Well, maybe not everybody, because she is an old lady. Maybe 2 or 3 women in their mid-60s versus her. But this was low-income housing. You stealing from people who are already struggling. I would say steal from the rich instead, but this happened in Huntsville, Alabama. The whole city is low income. So stealing from the lower class was probably her only option. I'd be damned.
The owner of a local pharmacy is feeling the pain after one of his longtime employees was arrested and charged with stealing prescription medications to sell on the street.
Sheriff's investigators say this suspect had his hand not in the cookie jar, but in the medicine cabinet. Deputies accuse 41-year-old pharmacist Michael Lomangino of stealing prescription meds from the store. They say Lomangino admitted he'd been doing it for several weeks to sell on the streets or trade to support a friend's drug habit. When Lomangino was stopped near DeLand early Tuesday, investigators found hundreds of pills in his vehicle. These are evidence photos. Thousands more were found in Lomangino's Edgewater home, nearly 6,000 in all, along with a gun and cash.
No. I would just never in a million trillion years think that Michael would have done something like this.
28-year-old Alina Kirkland Mashad was in the car with Lomangino and arrested as an accomplice. The friend Lomangino said is a roxycodone addict. He was trying to help. The store doesn't stock much Roxy, so he claims he stole other meds to trade for Roxy. She denied that on the phone with us from jail, claims Lomangino is just a dealer.
From what he had said, he had been doing it for quite a bit of time. I've only known him 4 months.
The owner says he never noticed a loss in inventory, but didn't really check because Lomangino is a long, trusted employee.
He was trying his best to make himself sound like a good Samaritan. I was helping my friend out with her drug problem. How was you stealing drugs and selling them drugs to your friend, helping them? Call me crazy, but it sounds like you're making it worse.
The friend Lomangino said is a roxycodone addict. He was trying to help.
And when they questioned this so-called friend, she said she only known you as a drug dealer, and she only been knowing you for over a month. She ain't claimed you as a friend at all.
I've only known him 4 months.
And he said that he wasn't selling her the Roxy, he was trading the Roxy with her. So what was she trading? Some mouth action with a little bit of intercourse on the side? He was sliding around the city with her in the car.
28-year-old Alina Kirkland Mashad was in the car with Lomangino.
When a drug dealer is sliding around with a drug user, then that drug user is showing that drug dealer where the money at.
28-year-old Alina Kirkland Mashad was in the car with Lomangino.
I got a homegirl over here that need 5 of them things. I got a homeboy over here that needs 7 of them things. They was riding around Volusia County running it up.
28-year-old Alina Kirkland Mashad was in the car with Lomangino.
And the owner of the pharmacy, he was asking to get robbed. You got a store full of painkillers in the state of Florida, the opioid capital of the world. You got junkies running around all over the goddamn place.
The owner says he never noticed a loss in inventory, but didn't really check because Lomangino is a long, trusted employee.
And you decided to not be vigilant with your inventory? It ain't enough trust in the world. I would be doing inventory audits on my stuff 10 times a day.
The owner says he never noticed a loss in inventory, but didn't really check because Lomangino is a long, trusted employee.
Because I know how valuable pills are. They basically sell themselves. It's easy money. So with me knowing that, I ain't even about to give nobody the opportunity to get over.
The owner says he never noticed a loss in inventory, but didn't really check because Lomangino is a long, trusted employee.
I'm gonna be very vigilant with that inventory.
Officers under arrest and facing very serious charges.
They're accused of helping drug traffickers, and that's just the beginning of the story.
Calvin, Lori, these are some very serious charges. Fortunately, those drug traffickers they thought they were working with were undercover agents, and the charges against these officers are very serious.
Shanton Harris, James Archibald, and Kelvin Harris.
The officers in this case participated in the scheme to protect individuals that they believed were money launderers and narcotics traffickers.
According to a criminal complaint, Shanton Harris was approached by an undercover agent to be paid to escort people moving drugs through our area and laundering money. She participated alone for a few months before bringing in the other officers. At one point, the three moved from just providing security to actually transporting the fake drugs themselves. Each were paid for their work, with Shanton Harris receiving $17,000, Kelvin Harris receiving $10,000, and James Archibald getting $6,500.
Instead of ridding our streets of drugs, which are ravaging our communities, these officers were willing to profit from money laundering and drug trafficking enterprises.
So they hired police to police the police? Undercover agents posing as drug traffickers, paying the police to turn a blind eye? How does a situation like this even come about? Somebody was hating on Shantan, and it was probably James Archibald.
And James Archibald getting $6,500.
When he found out Shantan was getting $17K and he was only getting $6.5K, oh yeah, he started telling every goddamn thing.
And James Archibald getting $6,500.
My question is this: how much does a police officer actually make? Because risking your career over $17K, $10K, and $6.5K is not worth it, especially if you're a cop. So how much do they actually make?
And James Archibald getting $6,500.
But yeah, Shantan probably been doing dirt for years. They couldn't catch her, so they had to set up a sting operation. And Adriana, she getting all emotional, just making the situation worse. She act like she been waiting on this day for years.
Which are ravaging our communities.
She act like she caught Shantan and her man getting freaky.
Which are ravaging our communities.
But yeah, these ain't no young and dumb cops. These are cops that are in their 40s and 50s, on their way to retirement. Why would you spend decades of your life in a career just to throw it away over income tax money? $17K, $10K, $6.5K, that's income tax money.
And James Archibald getting $6,500.
That ain't life-changing money. Well, I guess it is life-changing money. You went from police officer to inmate. That's a hell of a change.
My life dramatically changed because now I am a 40-year-old woman with a 1-year-old daughter who is so fatigued and can't work.
Lauren Lalini went into the hospital for kidney surgery and left with hepatitis C and a liver infection. And she's not alone. Technician Kristen Parker infected at least 19 patients by stealing syringes of their pain medication, injecting herself, and leaving contaminated syringes for reuse. Parker's now serving 30 years in jail.
A system is broken.
Medical workers stealing opioids is a growing problem, according to a new report that found in 2018 more than 47 million doses of legally prescribed opioids were stolen.
If you a doctor, then that probably means you make pretty good money. So why not take that good money you make and buy your drugs off the streets?
Injecting herself and leaving contaminated syringes for reuse.
Why are you risking your job, your career, just to get high? You taking drugs from the patients? You on some hot girl-ish for no reason at all. If you would have bought your drugs off the streets, you probably would have still had a job.
Injecting herself and leaving contaminated syringes for reuse.
You would have been high as hell on that clock, and nobody would have suspected a thing. But nah, you want to get high off the hospital's inventory, leaving behind contaminated syringes, giving the patients all types of diseases. Now people are raising their eyebrows, asking questions, conducting investigations. All of this could have been avoided if you would have bought your drugs off the streets.
Injecting herself and leaving contaminated syringes for reuse.
And now you're serving 30 years in prison? I'll be damned. I'ma end the video like this. Life is all about choices. And it's obvious, this young lady should have chose to get her drugs off the streets.